Now, in days gone by, when the Japanese made bikes with wonderful engines but wobbly frames, there was a small Italian company called Bimota, based in Rimini on the Adriatic coast, who made beautiful frames with beautiful engineering. Then the Japs started making neat handling bikes like the TL1000R, but that didn't stop Bimota. They still thought they could do it, and better. So do they? Is this SB8 with Suzuki's TL1000R engine better than the standard TL1000R? Sort of £7,000 better? Which is sort of twice as better? Now you're asking. First, the frame. And just remember, the beauty is in the detail with Bimota. Just look at this here. Carbon fibre. It's a twin spar frame, so you'd say nothing new there. But this vacuum formed carbon fibre here forms the swing arm pivot. And up at the top here, if you used to do woodworking at all, there's a sort of a mortise and tenon joint there, beautifully slotted into the main frame forgings. It's just lovely to look at. And this was made by the same people who make Ferrari's bits and pieces, so it's top quality stuff. Now, with the frame only weighing 7.5 kilo, it'd be a bit silly to put a subframe on it for the seat unit, so there's no subframe. This beautifully sculpted carbon fibre seat unit is completely self-supporting. It's just bolted onto the frame down at the bottom here, but underneath there's absolutely nothing but fresh air. It has, of course, got the exhaust pipes tucked up under there, a la 916. Very neat job it is too. But that seat unit is something else. Look at this, childbearing hips on this. The fairing looks familiar because that's a TL1000 headlamp up there, but the rest of the fairing, as you can see from this carbon fibre, is all new. And look at the back, no visible means of suspension, and I'll tell you why. Well, as you can see down here, there's a pivot there with a big alloy rod, and the idea is swing an arm comes up, it actually pushes that rod upwards, and here's the O-lins unit tucked up inside the frame rail. Remote reservoir is just there where you can easily get onto the adjuster, so it's a fully adjustable O-lins there, but very neatly tucked away. And while I'm down here, just look at this swing arm, the famous Bimota name in there, fabricated aluminium. And look at the detail that's gone into this chain adjuster. No scrappy bit of metal there, solid piece of alloy, adjusting screw in the end. That's not going to distort, pulls it back nice and square. Bobbins there as well for the old paddock stand. Coming up to these rear sets here, and all this is beautifully engineered. You can probably hear that little click there. It's even got a little adjuster on there to adjust the throw of the lever, but it really is beautiful. A joy to behold. And what about these air ducts? You probably saw them on the earlier shots, but these aren't just for decoration. These go straight through the plastic tank down to a brand new airbox, and under there they've got new Morelli fuel injection system with massive throttle bodies, 59mm diameter. That's sort of nearly 2.5 inches. That's absolutely massive. All this ups the power to 134 brake as against 125 for the standard TL. But it doesn't feel such a smoothie as the standard bike. It's got a harder edge now and a much louder exhaust to boot. With those two massive chokes gulping air, it pays to keep the motor spinning. But at 7,000 revs, it takes on a new breath and a new sound and absolutely slingshots you forward. The whole bike also feels completely different. But is that any surprise? Especially with a radically different riding position. Because not only have you got these massive ducts in your face, which interestingly actually cover up all the controls, so you need to familiarise yourself first with them as you wonder where all the lights are and all the rest of it, but the bars are much lower than standard too. But you don't really buy a sports bike for comfort, do you? And as I'm young and supple, I don't have a problem with this anyway. But look at these trick bits up here, and I really love this stuff. This top yoke, milled from solid billet aluminium. Just look at it. It really is a pleasure to look at with the gold tops to the forks as well. See this on the top here? This is the choke. Listen to that click. It's lovely. If you're an engineer, you'll appreciate that. Otherwise, you'll think I'm an anorak. And down the bottom there, the second set of yokes, the lower yokes, they're not wimpy triple clamps. These are 4 quadruple clamped lower yokes. Absolutely superb. You're not going to get any twisting in those forks. And also up here, you can see it's got an O-lins steering damper. Best in the business. No problems with that. And another couple of things while I'm here. The mirrors, that could be the two things I suppose. These, you can only see through them when you're flat on the tank, which probably says something about this bike. But when you're in an urban area and you're sitting up, you can only see the road. Absolutely hopeless. And while I'm up here, you can see something else down here if I just swing the bars to the side. This clamp at the top here, this has got an eccentric steering race at the top, and so you can adjust the rake between 24 and 25 degrees. It's similar to a Ducati, 180 degrees out, and you kick the forks out or in. Now what deserves a mention all of its own is the front fork. Now these aren't Showa, they're not Öhlins. These are Paoli, Italian forks again, but look at that gold twinkling here in the setting sun. Absolutely beautiful bits of kit. And the stanchions on these are 46mm, absolutely massive. But don't they look the business? They've got the old Brembo 4-pots. Goes without saying, superb braking, but what a lovely looking bike. And out on the road it adds up to, or you could say it subtracts, because it's 19 kilos lighter than a standard, thanks to all that carbon, and in fact it's only 1 kilo heavier than an R1. But at 1390mm, it's also got a shorter wheelbase than both of them, so you could expect some liveliness, and you get it. But that doesn't mean twitchiness. It's stable all right, but also very chockable. Whether it's just the riding position or the fact that you can tune the suspension to your liking, I don't know. But it certainly feels much sharper than its more sofa-like donor bike, the TL1000R. And don't be fooled by that skimpy seat either. It's surprisingly comfortable. But perhaps this is missing the point. This bike wants to be different. It wants to be special. It shouts style at you from every angle. It'll cost you $14,500 list, or for this parallel example, $13,999. So if you want cheap thrills, go for the stock Suzuki, but if you want some panache with your dash, go Bimota.